Café and Networking Podcast promotes successful business experts. I'm Tom Reaoch, known as the King of Networking, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. Today we talk with Steve Gallegos, America's ambassador to success, and he's joining us from Denver, Colorado. Steve Gallegos is an international speaker, trainer, award-winning author, expert and authority on communications, relationships, and self-mastery. He's founder of the Voice of Impact Awards. So, Steve, what has been your biggest lesson as an entrepreneur?
Tom, if there has been one lesson, there have been 1,000, to tell you the truth. But the exciting part is that I can actually distill it down to one thing, and that is what I believe that a lot of entrepreneurs, the majority of entrepreneurs struggle with, is this idea of being a success and failure. We're grown up, we're programmed with this idea that you have to become successful. If you want to be successful, in other words, success is brought to us as something that we have to step into and become. And so people start chasing success from very early on in life and never really know when to reach it or how, if they have reached it. And that's because, Tom, as you know very well, there's no grand definition for success. Right? If I say, people tell me, you need to get to Brazil. When I get to Brazil, I know when I'm there because I know where Brazil is. I know what it looks like. I know its landmarks. I know its beautiful people, its beautiful language. But what is success? Success means different things to different people. And so what I share with people and what I've learned is that you, the human, the person, the entrepreneur, is neither a success nor a failure. Those are just simply two opposite sides of the same coin that describe, Tom, the events, the outcome of events. So if I intend something as an entrepreneur, whatever it is, whether it's to go networking, whether it's to pitch to investors, whether it's to launch a new product or whatever, solve a problem, it's either going to work or it's not.
Right.
If it works, I succeeded. If it didn't work, it failed. But that doesn't make me the failure, nor does it make me the success. And I use this example with people. I say, have you ever been in a car accident? A lot of people say yes. I say, do you walk away from that? Do you walk away from the? Yeah. Do you walk away from that accident saying, "Oh, I'm such an accident"? No. You don't. You say, I've been in an accident. Maybe you caused it. Maybe you participated. You were there. You were involved in it. But that doesn't make you the accident. So why should you consider yourself either a success or a failure? No. So once you reframe that and recognize that these are just simply two sides of the coin, then what you can do is you can just continue developing your entrepreneurial journey in business or even in your career, in your job. Forget even entrepreneurship. Raising your children, being a good spouse, being a good member of your community or your church or whatever. Success and failure are simply the outcome of the events in our life.
Well, you mentioned the coin and both sides of the coin. So in essence, you are the coin.
You are the coin, yeah.
You are the coin. Looking at your site, you give away a complimentary book of how to write your story. So
correct.
A practical guide to create engagement, build connection, and attract your audience. So to that, you're really selling the coin, and that coin is you. And it doesn't matter if it's successful or failure. Just how do you convey that, right?
Exactly. How to write your story is the essential skill next to public speaking that every entrepreneur, forget entrepreneur again, every person, every human being must learn how to share your story, because it's one thing to be able to open your mouth and speak and say, I'm Steve Gallegos or I'm Tom Reaoch and go meet a beautiful girl or meet a sharp guy in a suit that can give you a job or buy your product, whatever. But how to share your story is how you distinguish yourself from all the other people that can do what you do and better and cheaper and faster. But it's also how you build connection, and it's how you draw people to you. And so
making them want to hear your story or stories.
Absolutely. So it's once you learn how to share your story, you will be able to just rise and elevate above everyone else because people will be drawn to you and they'll get to know you like, you're the king of networking, like my good friend Tom is in Brazil, right? Or you're the America's ambassador on success, or you're the master of this, the master of that. They'll remember you based on your story. And so you have to learn how to do that.
Now, in today's world, but since it is digital, people are searching, right? And really for the experts, I want to say the winners. They're also searching for the losers. They want to learn from the failure of others. So that's
Correct.
part of our story. We also need to talk about our failure.
Correct. Yes. And again, don't consider them that you're the failure. Again, the failure is just this, what I intended, the project, the objective, the goal didn't go as planned. Mm-hmm. But you always learn from something, right? Now, if you walk away from that experience and go, I didn't learn a thing, and you keep repeating the same process like a lot of people do, especially in relationships and, getting jobs that they're not particularly well suited for or desire, it's going to continue causing problems in your life. But if you learn from the event that didn't go the way you wanted to, why didn't it go the way you wanted to? Was it the person? Was it me? 9 times out of 10, it's you.
Right.
But sometimes it's the external factors too, like, hey, the weather didn't cooperate today. Mm-hmm. The noise factor was just too much and people couldn't hear him, whatever the case may be, right? You learn and then you adapt, you change, and you move forward doing it in a new way.
And keep telling it, keep sharing your story, because every day that we wake up, it's another, I'm going to say a chapter, it may be a paragraph of our story. So our stories never end.
Indeed, stories never end. And on that note, Tom, before we go, I want to also let your audience know that you are not your story. That's the magic of it, right? Mm-hmm. Share your story, but also know that you are not the story. You can change that story anytime you want. In other words, we meet people that are always sharing the same story. Many times it's a victimhood. I'm a victim of this, I'm a victim of this, I'm a victim of this, and they never get past that, right? Because they find their identity in that story, and they love sharing it so much because they get feedback, they get love, they get recognition, they get a warm hug from someone that says, oh, poor you. And then when that person gets tired of hugging you because you're not moving forward, then you go looking for another person that says, oh, poor you, right? But you are not the story. You're the actor in the story. Maybe you were the victim, but then you can
one of the actors, actually, because as you
exactly,
are the expert
multiple.
in relationship, the self-mastery obviously is back to the coin that's me. But the relationship is putting more other actors and actresses in our own story, because there's nobody, it's not a one man or one person show anymore. Our success comes from other people.
Everything you want comes from other people. Well put, Tom. Everything we want, whether it's sex, love, relationship, food, meals, job, career, products, services, opportunities, it all comes from someone else. And so this is where you need to learn how to relate to someone else. And those are the 3 pillars, right? Self-mastery, how you think and how you make decisions. Communications, how you speak, what you say to yourself, what you say to others, and then relationships, starting with yourself. What is your relationship with yourself? Because that will largely determine how you go out and present yourself in the world and how you treat other people.
Very good. So how can our listeners find you? How can those people out there become part of your relationships?
Beautiful question, Tom. And the first thing I'll suggest to them is for them to contact you and say, number one, thank you for introducing us to Steve and all your other beautiful guests. How can I get a hold of Steve? And then if, Tom, you find yourself too busy to handle all these calls and emails, then people can find me by going to either steviegsuccess.com, that's steviegsuccess.com, which is my website where you'll find all kinds of free audio training, which is fabulous. And then I also encourage you to go to the Voices of Impact Awards, which is an event that we've created to celebrate people with original songs or inspiring stories that can elevate humanity. And this is for the everyday person, the first responder, the ER nurse, the executive, the stay-at-home parent that has been through some stuff, Tom, that can teach the world something. And so we want to celebrate those people. And share, just like the Oscars celebrate the people in the film and television industry. We want to celebrate those of you that are on the front line. So go to voiawards.com and you get a free copy of my book called How to Share Your Story.
Very good. Well, thanks again, Steve, for being part.
Tom, I appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
And for our listeners, it's Steve Gallegos. It's S-T-E-V-E. The last name is Gallegos. Gallegos. You'll find him on the site, VOI Awards. That's VOIAWARDS.com. And again, you'll find the ebook complimentary copy, How to Write Your Story. Café Network is brought to us by Focus Semi-Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at focusmi.com. Thanks for listening until the next time here at Café and Networking Podcast.